Hello, gamer. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to watch or listen to this presentation on potential gaming targets you may have missed during the 2025 calendar year and engage them accordingly. They span across genres, platforms, and countries, but may be approached in whichever order you desire. This message will not self-destruct, and this presentation will proceed in 5 seconds. Good luck, gamer.
Misk: A Tiny Tale was on my radar throughout the year due to its initial resemblance to Chibi Robo. However, the game successfully establishes its own identity, ultimately delivering an experience closer to a classic Nintendo 64-style 3D platformer and collectathon. The story follows a small robot embarking on an adventure with a companion to explore a vibrant world. Players collect various pieces of trash scattered across the environment, which is a lot like Chibi Robo, and those can be exchanged for golden gears, the primary collectible in each level. Each world contains 10 gears, and obtaining them requires completing diverse tasks such as locating hidden items, assisting NPCs, solving puzzles, and defeating enemies. There's also one challenge in each world where you have to do this pretty high-level platforming challenge, and I found the first and last ones especially more challenging, but they're really fun to complete. One standout level is a winter-themed world with festive elements, where players race, gather items to build a snowman, and even explore a freezer. It gives very strong Christmassy vibes, obviously. Perhaps the most unexpected aspect of the game is its story. Without revealing spoilers, the story takes a surprisingly dark turn, shifting the tone dramatically from its lighthearted beginning. There's some worlds later on that you're surprised kind of how dark they get. But I highly recommend Misk: A Tiny Tale to any fan of a 3D collectathon, particularly those who like the N64 era. There's a lot of Banjo-Kazooie vibes in this game, which I expected a lot more of Chibi Robo, obviously, but it was a pleasant surprise to find this gem, which my friend Parrot also really put on my radar, but this title really shows the creativity and charm that the genre deserves. We need definitely more 3D style collectathon and platformers, and I'm really excited to see what the studio comes next, because like I said, we definitely need more. But yeah, everyone check it out. I played it on Switch too. I think it's just the regular Switch version, but you can play it on pretty much all the major platforms, and it's a nice short 6 to 7 hour game. Even if you try to get everything, there's some fun surprises, and yeah, everyone definitely check out this game. Thanks.
What's up, everybody? It's Greek Thunder. Hope you're having a great start to your 2026. Thank you as well to Why You Should Play to allow me to yap for a couple minutes about probably my favorite game of 2025, which is Luminous Arise. I did create a whole script about how Tetsuya Miyaguchi, director of Space Channel 5, Rez, Meteos, Child of Eden, originally wanted to make a Tetris game in 2004, but he was denied, so instead, Luminous was born, and he took those ideas that he had for Tetris, where he wanted to incorporate audio and visuals, and made a fantastic PSP launch game. If you liked Tetris Effect, this game is a no-brainer. If you like music, puzzles, or any other game that can really just put you into a zen, also just one that you have to try. The basic premise is to create single color squares out of falling blocks that will then clear as the timeline moves across the playing field to the tempo of the music, allowing you to add more blocks to the square, build up combos, and sometimes just try to survive to the next song. If you have a VR, it's just like Tetris Effect in that it's got a fantastic VR mode, OLED TV, or a great sound system. Definitely a must play. The only real downsides are that it does have a great soundtrack, but it does fall just short of Tetris Effect, I think. There's definitely some bangers, one you can hear in the background right now. But other than that, and just a little bit of busyness sometimes in some of the levels, like they turned all the effects, even from Tetris Effect, up to 11, so it can be tough on some, but there are accessibility options where you can remove some of those effects, make it a little bit easier to see. But overall, this is just one of those games that I think anybody should try. It's only $40. It's got 34 or 35 levels. It's got about 60 training missions to help if you're new to the game. You learn the ins and outs of the gameplay. It's got 26 different challenges, time attacks, multiplayer battles, and really just can kind of keep you moving and grooving. But whether you're new to Luminous, played the original games, or only played Tetris Effect, definitely another great addition to the puzzle drop genre, and I hope everyone gives it a try and can just vibe out to it. Thanks, and I hope you all have a great 2026.
Hello everyone, this is Phil, and I am here to tell you why you should play Sea of Stars, Throes of the Watchmaker. Throes of the Watchmaker is a 2025 DLC that is a follow-up to 2023 Sea of Stars. It is available for the low price of free if you have Sea of Stars, and it is about 8 to 10 hours. A lot of content here for free. Big question, of course, is if you haven't played Sea of Stars since 2023, should you play this? And I think the answer is absolutely. The game takes place in a subworld within the Sea of Stars universe, and it immediately Metroids. You lose all your powers, you lose all your currency, you lose all of your side characters too. So you have to learn brand new powers, brand new enemies, brand new world. Any of that timing, muscle memory you lost, doesn't matter here. You gotta relearn it all anyway. And it does do a pretty good job of easing you into that. I will say it is harder than the original game because there is some expectation that you do know what you're doing. But once you get over that initial hump of trying to remember how to play the game, it is more Sea of Stars, which is not a bad thing. You've still got all of your timing combos, you've got all of your side games like fishing, and there are some side games that are optional, but will give you really good gear if you want to go through them. I only got through one of them. They are very tough. You got the puzzle dungeons here. You've got some weird hidden items that will give you a secret ending, just like the original game. Although the secret ending in this case is much less consequential, so you are fine probably just find a YouTube video for that. But overall, ton of fun, really cool. Music not quite as great. The characters also not quite as great because you don't get all of those good side characters. Unfortunately, you only get the two Solstice Warriors, who are kind of the most boring characters in the game. But they do have a nice little personal story here, which is good window dressing. Sea of Stars was never really about the story, in my opinion, so I think that is totally fine. The combat is really cool, though. I really liked the boss fights, especially. The second to last boss fight is super cool. Probably the coolest boss fight in the entire game, base game included. So, with that, if you've got Sea of Stars on your download list, go put it back on your console, or your PC, or your Steam Deck, whatever, and give this a shot. You will not regret it.
My game that I wanted to highlight is 1000 X Resist. It's a very surreal narrative experience without spoiling like any specifics. It basically is something to do with generations of trauma and identity. It's very hyper cinematic, and the whole story basically stems from immigration culture. The plot has deep roots in Asian Canadian immigrant experiences and the Hong Kong protests. So it gives this game this incredible and deep cultural weight that you wouldn't really expect to see in something like a video game. It throws you into a lot of fragmented memories and forces you to piece together a cycle of resistance that's lasted pretty much 1,000 years, hence 1,000x resist. But playing through it and honestly taking my time through it, it was very thought provoking. It felt like watching something profound like Evangelion. It's definitely something that you wouldn't want to rush through, and you want to take your time and absorb things. I played it like a chapter at a time, but yeah, it was very stylized. There's a lot of monotone voice acting, which you would think at first would be kind of a like a flaw, but it actually really suits the atmosphere and how everyone has been affected by the 1,000 year cycle. It perfectly hides a lot of emotion, but you can still tell it's there. And the visuals, they're pretty much like a Satoshi Kon film. So if you like those, you'll definitely vibe with the art style here. It works perfectly. Um, this game ended up being very insightful for me, though, as someone who's never really had issues with cultural things or immigration. I mean, I don't have a life that's like those people that go through so many trials just to live somewhere that they want to, or escape a place that's just a hellhole. And this game is a very good way to show how those cycles affect people, how they affect people today. It's pretty much mirroring how our current reality is, despite it being 1,000 years in the future. And it shows how these long cycles of pain can eventually be broken. And honestly, this game doesn't even feel like it's over a year old. Came out May 2024, but I think it still needs to get some kudos. So, yeah, give this game some love. Check it out. Thanks.
One of my favorite video game releases of 2025 is Rematch, the new arcade-style soccer game by developer Slowclap. I never actually played their previous games, Sifu or Absolver, but I have always loved arcade-style sports games, like the NFL Street or Backyard Sports games back in the day, so I was super excited to try this game when it got announced. While it's not quite as arcade as those, Rematch is an amazing blend of simple-to-understand sports gameplay mixed with a huge amount of strategy and technique in its mechanics that allow you to slowly get better and better as you play, and it makes it super satisfying once you finally feel like you understand it. At the beginning, you will struggle a bit, but once it all clicks, it is one of the most satisfying multiplayer games I have ever played. This is easily the game I played the most in 2025, between the 3-on-3, 4-on-4, and 5-on-5 modes. If you are a fan of sports games at all, I highly recommend checking this out, especially if you have a group of friends you can play and learn with. With just a little bit of practice, you will soon be busting out crazy moves, bouncing the ball off the walls to your teammates, and bicycle kicking the ball past helpless goalies.
I've kept myself spoiled with Silent Hill. I played 1, 2, and 3 in the last 3 years. I finished 3 a few months ago, and everyone being mixed on the latest entry had me curious about where I'd land. While Bloober Hill is the Unreal 5 Silent Hill harassment side of the coin, I never thought that I'd be here saying that Silent Hill F is the flirting Unreal 5 Silent Hill side of that same coin. The biggest reason I'm shocked to be saying that, and what is basically my warning about this, is that the first 3 hours of this game, before you actually get to the first location of the game that has you doing Silent Hill stuff, is dismal. It's... Having not played the American Silent Hill games, I just have to imagine that this is what it looked like. not knowing your core identity, doing whatever the modern trends are of the time, and then just slapping the Silent Hill name on it. The game felt very much Thing Japan. And then you've got upgrades, currency, weapon degradation, running towards the camera segments, deliberate Souls-like animations, parries, dodging, stamina. The fact that it looked just so Unreal 5. And yet, when you get to the first location, they nail what is the hardest thing to nail in a Silent Hill game. It's not just the music, it's not just the fog, it's just not the graphics. It's the feel. It's the unease. It's not wanting to move forward, but your innate curiosity knowing that it'll put you in more danger because you want more answers. That alone makes Silent Hill F impressive, but it's not only understanding the appeal of town psychoanalyzing you to make you crack. Silent Hill F also pulls off something miraculous that I didn't think it could do, which is this game has an identity of its own, that it uses what Silent Hill is as the bedrock to start building something that feels distinctly different from the original games. There is not much in this game that you can look at and feel like it's just direct ripoffs of the original games just to get you some nostalgia points. Anyways, my guess for what the F stands for is female. I haven't continued beyond the second ending because replaying that opening really does just temper my excitement to get back to it. And at its best, this feels like a B-side to Silent Hill 3. So while this isn't even in the top 5 games of 2025, it is absolutely my biggest surprise that somehow Silent Hill has returned.
Hello everyone, it's Frog again. I'm going to keep this segment brief, not because I don't want to gush about the game, but I simply can't due to its length. Dear Me, I Was took me about 45 minutes to finish, but those 45 minutes connected with me much more than most games that came out this year. There are times when publishers break away from what is expected of them in order for their developers to create something they're truly passionate about. It feels less and less common nowadays, but games like Pentiment in 2022 from Xbox, or Emio the Smiling Man in 2024 from Nintendo stood as true examples of that idea. Games that people would look at and know it would not sell, but were greenlit regardless due to the passion and pedigree of the people who made it. Arc System Works, a studio and publisher best known for being prolific in the fighting game genre, allowed a small team of theirs to make Dear Me, I Was in a very similar vein. Rather than a fighting game, Dear Me, I Was is a visual novel with art from Taisuke Kanasaki, the artist behind Another Code and Hotel Dusk, and the work truly makes this game shine. Mixing his beautiful watercolor aesthetic with rotoscoping helps the game feel ethereal on one hand and incredibly grounded on the other, which fits the tone of the game perfectly. A game with no dialogue, Dear Me I Was relays the story of a woman in totality, from her youngest years to her eldest. Each fragment of her life is portrayed with such heart behind it, and seeing how something from one part of her life affects another is powerful, and you truly connect with our unnamed protagonist. She's flawed, she makes mistakes, but the game is always earnest in its portrayal of her and trusts the player to understand her, even when she makes choices that we can see won't make her happy. I wish I could keep going, but Dear Me I Was is a game best experienced in one sitting with as little known about it as possible. I hope my little rambling doesn't detract from your experience. Currently, the game is exclusive to the Nintendo Switch 2 and costs $8 USD. If you're able to play it, I think you will come away feeling positive.
If you're like me, you dream of one day owning a 1992 Suzuki Carry K truck with a nice white finish, driving along the beautiful sunny tropic coast of a small quiet little town, blasting aloud your favorite summer albums. Well, the best I can do in this economy, trapped in snowy hell here in the Great White North, is to play the wonderfully weird mascot management sim, Yakuza-like, cozy open world,
Widgets and Gizmos Collectathon, Minigame Extravaganza, Truck Gliding, and Sailing Adventure from the studio makers that brought us cult hit Paradise Killer, Kaizen Gameworks' latest Promise Mascot Agency, a game worthy of such a long-winded word salad of a description. In Promise Mascot Agency, you play as Michi, a highly respected Yakuza lieutenant who's been exiled to the small, quiet coastal town known as Kazomachi to lay low and run an agency that helps turn the lives around of the seemingly mythic but rather strange creature folks known as mascots for the Promise Mascot Agency. There, you'll manage to send mascots around Kazomachi and beyond to lend their services to businesses in need to promote their store image in card-style battles. Manage your mascots' happiness to keep them performing well and help them accomplish their dreams. Smash political propaganda road signs, collect arcade cabinets for a collector, clean up the shrines, help around with the many errands of the townsfolks, uncover the spooky secrets of the supernatural curse of the town, and meet wonderful folks like the Kazomachi train station master and his cat, Mr. Morientora. I'll keep it brief, but the open world genre is one I don't gravitate to these days very often with how much of a time sink they are, but Promise Mascot Agency not only respected my time, but charmed me with its wonderfully endearing cast of strange folks, and it reminded me of games I've loved over the years like Animal Crossing, Shenmue, Yakuza 0, Deadly Premonition, and Crazy Taxi. I look forward to contributing to this yearly now, so have a happy New Year's.
Hey everybody, Moki here, again with another Wisp 2025 in review banger. 2025 delivered a ton of surprising hits amongst a variety of niche genres, but those who know me will not at all be surprised that my selection for the Why You Should Play 2025 in review is none other than Rhythm Doctor by 7th Beat Games. The aptly named studio following up their smash hit one-button rhythm debut, A Dance of Fire and Ice, is back with another one-button rhythm game, and one this time attaching a full-on story and characters set at the Middlesea Hospital where you play as a new intern testing new experimental rhythm treatments on a variety of patients that you will grow to love and adore. What this means for the gameplay is that you monitor a person's heartbeat and tasked with merely pressing the button on the 7th beat. What starts off as a beautifully simple concept blossoms into a full-on symphony of rhythms and visuals as the game steadily introduces new variations on the 7-beat rhythms and managing to one-up themselves without fail on the presentations of the tracks as the game goes on. And like always, a great rhythm game is nothing without a killer soundtrack, and Rhythm Doctor delivers a host of varied bangers that perfectly interweave the narrative circumstances to the gameplay elements, which results in some awesome moments that are some things only the medium of video games can achieve. Do not skip this title and be sure to give A Dance of Fire and Ice a look as well, if your rhythm cravings are still not satisfied.
Bad release time can sometimes sink great games, and this year I had to watch it happen for my favorite game of 2025, Hell Is Us, which due to some unfortunate timing had to release on the same day as Silksong, which obviously overshadowed it. And that is a shame because Hell Is Us does some really cool stuff with its approach to world building, puzzles, and overall atmosphere to the point where it feels like a game that was built just for me, which is a rare occurrence. On paper, Hell Is Us may seem like a decent supernatural third-person action game with some puzzles, but when you delve deeper you discover one of the most intriguing narrative worlds I've had the pleasure to play through. The game follows the protagonist Remy, played by the always so wonderful Elias Tufexis, who returns to his home country of Hadia, a super isolationist nation ravaged by a brutal civil war, which is depicted in harrowing detail detail which made my skin crawl more than few times. Remy wants to know what happened to his parents, and that leads him to discover this paranormal mystery that leads back centuries. The game's main story is solid, but if you just play through it, you might leave it disappointed. The meat of what makes this game so unbelievably incredible for me is everything around it. You get as much out of the game as you put effort in. When you speak to NPCs, they might reveal new things and points of view on the Civil War, going through documents reveals historical secrets, and environmental storytelling might lead to answers considering these paranormal happenings. And as you piece things together, you slowly build this image of Hadia, where the paranormal stuff connects to this ancient group of people, which connects to the modern civil war, which connects to this shady organization, which once again connects to the supernatural mystery. The level of cohesion in this world is on another level, and I've never been this invested in the history of a fictional country. And I love how they connect the world building into the game's puzzles, which there are plenty of. Like, for example, you might need to figure out a code to a safe, and you crack the code by learning about the important dates of Hadia's historic ruler. There are so many moments where I realized the game was sneakily teaching me stuff about the history through the gameplay, which is such a cool feeling. Same thing happens with the overall gameplay loop, because one major thing about Hell is Us is that there are no maps and no waypoints. You just need to figure out where to go by clues and just exploring the areas, which is so refreshing. And yes, the game has solid third-person melee combat, it has some cool ideas, not all of them are perfectly executed, but it never got into the way of the better parts of the game. Hell is Us is definitely not for everyone. I think some people might find it frustrating by either its combat or exploration, or you might find the main story underwhelming. But if you are like me and are eager to delve deeper, have the patience to read documents, and the willing to piece things together by yourself, Hell is Us can be a very rewarding experience, and maybe you can see what makes the game so special for me.
Why, hello. That's right, folks. I'm actually participating this year. Can you believe it? I know you can't, and indeed nor can I. Let me ask you something, enjoyer of leisure software. Do you like good games?
I love them.
Well, of course you do. You're watching or listening to this. At any rate, let me be more specific. Do you like 2D Zeldas?
I love them.
Do you like games with a Paper Mario-like badge system?
I love them.
Do you like games where a single item serves as a triple threat for combat, traversal, and puzzles?
I love them.
And most importantly, are you into yo-yos?
I love them.
Well, do I have a game for you.
Now you have my attention.
Possibly the first ever yo-yo-like. A wonderfully vibrant and endlessly inventive experience called Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo. Or is it Pipistrello? Pipistrello? For this one moment in my life, I can say that this is a set of L's I am not familiar with. At any rate, at its core, this exceptional game is an ode to the Game Boy Advance era, specifically Zelda. So much so that a model of a totally not Game Boy Advance appears when booting up the game. The setup is you play as Pippet, who, while having aspirations of his own through his proficiency with his trusted yo-yo, also happens to be a member of the rich and powerful Pipistrello family, led by his aunt Madame Pipistrello, that rules over the city through a virtually monopolistic grip on the energy supply. After Pippet uses his yo-yo to attempt to thwart an attack from a rogues gallery of organized crime goons, his aunt's soul is split into 5 pieces, 4 of which are stored in mega batteries confiscated by each of the goons, while the final one is encased within Pippet's trusty yo-yo. This calls Pipit to action with his reliable and now Madame-infused yo-yo in tow. As Pipit, you will adventure through the city and its 4 goon-controlled districts to relieve them of both their duties and batteries, and reclaim his family's rightful place as lording over the city. Or things may be more complicated than that. Spoiler alert, they are. Now, while the story may not be groundbreaking, nor would any reasonable person expect it to be, I will admit there were a couple of twists and turns that I found rather clever. And of course, in the spirit of this show, I will not spoil. While this setup and broad structure are a sound framework for a game like this, what really keeps you going from moment to moment is the exquisite gameplay. Pipit can use his yo-yo for combat, traversal, and puzzle solving. Developer Pocket Trap takes this triple threat tool premise and absolutely runs with it. The more than 1,000 screen map is filled with not only standard upgrades like number of heart contained life capacity, over 40 ability enhancing badges straight out of Paper Mario, more than 20 passive upgrade options, both with a social commentary twist, naturally, and other types of upgrades and alterations to gameplay tweaks. This assortment allows you to be genuinely expressive with Pipit, to the point of being able to construct genuine builds and take a variety of approaches to various gameplay and puzzle solutions. This is all complemented by unlocking main abilities with the yo-yo, which are subsequently utilized on top of one another for increasingly challenging yet satisfying and rewarding combat, traversal, and puzzle challenges, which entice you to explore more of the city as well as discover what secrets it hides. Like with Zelda, each of the 4 areas has its own main dungeon, and this is where the game really leaned into its color-splashed cityscape aesthetic, with such inventive dungeon ideas as a music festival and a soccer or football stadium. Other distinct locations help it feel like a living, breathing, vibrant city, such as a movie theater, a construction site, and a most despicable establishment, a government office. But don't worry, because this game even offers you the ability to get a burger. Now, I could yap endlessly about how much I adore this game, but I will cap this off by saying how insanely good the music is. It gives even more life to each unique area of the city with its energy, and those madmen at Pocket Pair even recruited the legend Yoko Shimomura to contribute a track which I deliberately did not include here so as to not spoil the surprise, but it's unsurprisingly a complex, atmospheric banger at a pivotal portion of the game. We may not get Kingdom Hearts 4 for a long while or maybe ever, but it's good to see the legend still working and cooking. One final thing before I sign off about this game, consider it a pro tip of sorts. There is a hub area in this game which you can use as a common storage area for excess items. You're welcome, I'm no hero. In the end, Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo is not only a game that has gone criminally underappreciated, but I feel is absolutely one of the very best games of the year. And you really, really, really should play it. No need to thank me after. Just knowing you enjoyed a goated game is enough reward for me. If you've made it to the end of this video and watched or listened to it all the way through, I want to thank you, and I'd like to ask for you to like and subscribe. I'm going to try my best to work on more content this year, even if traditional Wisp episodes have been a struggle to see through due to scheduling. I have a few other little Whisper ideas I've been kicking around, including a rather ambitious one I've been hammering out a script for. Again, if you can like, subscribe, leave a comment, share with your friends, etc., etc., I would greatly appreciate it. I hope the start to 2026 has been a promising one, but even if it hasn't, here's to the rest of the year being nothing but on the ascendancy. As always, see you next time.